Why power belongs to the calmest person in the room. Have you ever noticed how the person who stays the calmest somehow controls everything? Not because they're louder, not because they're the smartest, but because they refuse to let the chaos dictate their next move. In any room, whether it's a negotiation, a heated conversation, a family argument, or a competitive workplace, the person who controls their emotions controls the entire dynamic. Not the loudest, not the most dramatic, not the one trying to dominate the conversation. The one who stays calm, the one who listens more than they speak, the one who doesn't need to prove anything. That's where true power begins. And if you understand this, you're already ahead of 90% of people. Calmness wins in chaos, the hidden advantage of the Stoics. When the world gets chaotic, people get emotional. That's the pattern. Someone gets triggered, they react. Someone insults them, they lash out. Someone disagrees, they escalate. It's predictable, it's primal, it's weak. And the person who doesn't follow that pattern, the one who stays grounded, they win, quietly, consistently, without lifting a finger. Stoicism teaches us this. The ancient Stoics understood something modern people forget. The calmer you are in case, the more influence you have over the outcome. Not because you're suppressing your emotions, but because you've trained them. You've learned to observe instead of react. You've learned to hold your center while everyone else is losing theirs. You've learned to value long-term positioning over short-term ego. Think about it. The person who gets angry loses the argument. The person who panics loses the negotiation. The person who reacts emotionally loses leverage. Always. Silence controls the tempo. How to use quiet as power. Silence is uncomfortable for most people. They rush to fill sitting. They over-explain. They reveal more than they intended. But silence is a tool. Silence is strategy. When you hold silence, you control the tempo. You create space for others to reveal themselves. You force them to keep talking, to fill the void, to expose their intentions, their weaknesses, their insecurities. In every conversation, there's a rhythm. Fast talkers burn out quickly. Oversharers lose their edge. And the calm, quiet observer, they hold the beat. They steer the direction by doing less, not more. Master negotiators know this. They let the silence hang. They let the other side speak first, speak more, speak rashly. Because words can't be unsaid. But silence. Silence keeps your cards hidden. Ask simple questions. Pause. Observe. That's where you find leverage. Not in arguing, not in convincing, but in letting people reveal who they really are, on their own. Train emotional discipline. Not reaction, but response. Calmness isn't something you're born with. It's something you train. It's a muscle, a skill, a habit, and the people who master it, they don't just control rooms, they control outcomes. They control themselves. So how do you build this discipline? It's not about pretending you don't feel things. It's about feeling fully and choosing not to react impulsively. Start with your breath. When tension rises, breathe slower. Your breath sets the rhythm for your mind. Slow breath, slow thoughts. Fast breath, chaotic thoughts. Pause before you speak. You don't owe anyone an immediate reaction. Silence buys you time. Time gives you clarity. Clarity keeps you in control. Practice discomfort. Cold exposure, delayed gratification, sitting with irritation without responding. These are simple tools to build tolerance for chaos. Journaling helps too. Write down the moments you lost your calm. Why did it happen? What can you do next time? Self-awareness turns mistakes into lessons. Because here's the truth. The person who can stay calm when triggered is dangerous. They can't be manipulated. They can't be baited. They can't be pulled off center. Practical examples of calm power. Think of any powerful figure you admire. Leaders, CEOs, martial artists, philosophers. They don't scream to get attention. They don't react to every insult. They don't fight every battle. They choose their moments. They choose their words. They choose their reactions. And that choice, that control, commands respect. In the workplace, the colleague who stays professional under pressure gains trust faster than the one who vents on Slack. In relationships, the person who listens calmly wins more influence than the one who shouts to be heard. In negotiations, silence is often more powerful than any argument. When you stay calm, you see the game while others are stuck in the moment. You spot patterns, you read people, you understand dynamics that the emotional can't see. And in the end, the person who sees the full game always wins more than the one chasing every piece. Why power isn't about force, it's about control. Power isn't brute strength, it's control. Control over yourself, control over your energy, control over your responses. The loudest person isn't the most powerful. The calmest person is, because calm is rooted in self-mastery, and self-mastery is magnetic. People trust calm leaders. People follow calm thinkers. People respect calm presences, because calm suggests confidence. It suggests competence. It suggests control, and people are drawn to those who seem unshakable. So the next time you feel pulled into someone else's chaos, pause, breathe, observe, decide. Don't match their energy, set your own. Because power belongs to the one who controls themselves, not the one trying to control others. Outsmart without outshining. How to play the long game. Silently you see the people who are truly strategic in life. They don't waste energy trying to win every little moment. They don't compete over things that don't matter. And they definitely don't let their ego trick them into chasing validation. They play a different game entirely. They play the long game. And the long game isn't about ego. It's about leverage, patience, and understanding how people really work. Play the long game, not the ego game. Here's where most people fail. They want to win now. They want to prove themselves now. They want everyone to know they're right now. But people who think long-term understand something deeper. What's urgent is rarely important, and what's important rarely needs to be rushed. Ego wants applause today. Wisdom wants advantage tomorrow. When you stop playing for the short-term win, you gain something far more valuable. Perspective. Perspective lets you see that losing a battle today might position you to win the entire war later. Perspective lets you walk away from petty arguments because you're focused on bigger outcomes. Perspective gives you patience. And patience is terrifying to people who rely on chaos and reaction. Because patience shows you are not driven by impulse. You're driven by vision. Stay invisible. Build quietly. One of the smartest moves you can make in life is to build quietly. Not everything you do needs to be broadcast. Not every success needs to be posted. Not every step forward needs to be explained. In fact, The less people know, the less they can interfere, the less they can copy, the less they can sabotage. There's power in invisibility. When people can't predict your moves, they can't prepare to counter them. Think about chess. The best players don't announce their strategy. They move quietly, positioning pieces where they need to be. And by the time the opponent realizes what's happening, it's too late. Apply that to life. Work in silence. Prepare in silence. Strengthen your mind, your skills, your connections, quietly. Because the ones who shout the loudest are often the most insecure. And the ones who stay silent are often the most prepared. Outsmart, don't outshine. There's a difference between being the smartest person in the room and making sure everyone knows it. And here's the paradox. The person who needs everyone to know how smart they are rarely is. The person who quietly observes, learns, and applies, that's the one to watch. When you're around people, colleagues, bosses, even friends, learn this rule. Don't compete with them. Don't try to outshine them. Let them feel important. Let them believe they're ahead. Meanwhile, you keep learning, you keep improving, you keep moving silently, because people naturally lower their guard around those who don't seem like a threat. And the less of a threat you seem, the easier it is to move ahead unnoticed. Let others win the small ego battles. You're building leverage. You're playing for positioning, not applause. Why this matters in every niche of life, look at any niche, business, relationships, even social dynamics. The people who quietly play the long game end up on top. In business, it's the entrepreneur who builds value quietly for years, then suddenly dominates a market while others were busy showing off on social media. In relationships, it's the person who builds emotional maturity, patience, and boundaries, not the one who wins every argument. In friendships, it's the one who listens, observes, remembers, not the one who talks the loudest. And in life, it's the person who stays focused on the bigger picture while everyone else is distracted by noise. Real-world examples of playing quietly, look at Warren Buffett. Decades of quiet investing, no dramatic headlines, no viral tweets, just consistent, patient decisions that compound over time. And today, one of the most respected minds in finance. Look at Jeff Bezos in the early days of Amazon. No loud claims, just quietly building infrastructure while competitors mocked him. Now they aren't laughing anymore. Even in history, Augustus, the first Roman emperor, mastered this art. He didn't take power by force overnight. He slowly built the licenses, positioned himself strategically, let others burn themselves out, until Rome was his. They all played the same game. Be underestimated, be overlooked, be silent until it's time to speak through results. Don't fight for recognition, build leverage instead. Recognition is addictive, but it is also so dangerous because the more you need recognition, the easier you are to control. People will dangle compliments like bait. They'll provoke you just to see if you'll defend your ego. They'll manipulate you with attention. But leverage is quiet. Leverage comes from patience, from strategy, from understanding the game others don't even realize they're playing. Don't show people all your moves. Don't explain your goals. Don't prove anything. Let your results speak later. Let your success confuse them. Let your silence set the tempo. Because the one who doesn't need validation is the hardest to manipulate and the hardest to predict. So where does this leave you? Simple. Stop chasing approval. Stop needing to be seen right now. Stop competing for temporary wins. Focus on the long game. Focus on leverage. Focus on quiet positioning. Your patience will outlast their chaos. Your silence will outsmart their noise. And your strategy will overpower their ego. Because power doesn't announce itself. It arrives quietly, confidently, undeniably. How to build a life where no one can manipulate you again. So now that you understand the power of calmness, the strength of silence, and the brilliance of playing the long game, the real question becomes, how do you build a life where this mindset is second nature? How do you make sure you never again fall into someone else's emotional games, manipulative tactics, or ego-driven power plays? It's not just about moments. It's about who you become over time, through intention, through habits. It's about becoming someone that people simply can't move, can't control, can't predict. That's where real freedom begins. Not in dominating others, but in mastering yourself. Master emotional neutrality. Emotional neutrality is not coldness. It's not apathy. It's not about shutting yourself off from the world. It's about choosing how and where you spend your emotional energy. It's about deciding what deserves your reaction and what doesn't. You don't need to react to every slight. You don't need to engage with every insult. You don't need to correct every misunderstanding. People will project. People will provoke. People will misread you. Let them. Your job isn't to control their perception. Your job is to control your peace. Because every reaction costs energy, and the more you waste on what doesn't matter, the less you have for what does. Audit your energy leaks. Think of your life like a bank account. Every interaction either deposits into your energy or drains it. So start auditing. Who drains you? Who pulls you into useless arguments? Who disrupts your peace consistently, predictably? Where are you over-explaining? Where are you people-pleasing? Where are you defending yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you? Identify these leaks. Plug them. Protect your energy like it's currency, because it is. Your energy funds your future. Stop spending it on people who don't respect it. Build Stoic habits daily. This isn't about theory, it's about practice. Small, simple, daily choices that rewire your nervous system to prioritize peace over ego. Here's how you do it. 1. Pause. Always pause before you respond. Pause. Ask yourself, does this matter? Does this deserve me? Is this aligning with who I'm becoming? Most things won't pass that filter. Let them go. 2. Observe, don't absorb. You can notice someone's chaos without joining it. You can witness their projection without owning it. You can understand their manipulation without falling for it. Observation gives you power. Absorption gives them control. Stay observant. Stay grounded. 3. Choose response, not reaction. Not everything needs a comeback. Not every insult needs a defense. Not every invitation to drama needs your RSVP. Choose silence when needed. Choose clarity when required. But always choose consciously. Turn detachment into strength. Detachment is one of the most misunderstood forms of power. People think it means you don't care. Wrong, it means you care deeply about the right things. It means you're no longer willing to let the wrong things dictate your mood, your focus, your path. Detachment is knowing when to engage and when to walk away. It's knowing your value isn't determined by someone else's opinion. It's realizing peace is more valuable than winning an argument. You don't detach because you're bitter. You detach because you're wise. Because the more attached you are to control, validation, approval, the easier it is for people to manipulate you. Detachment makes you untouchable, and untouchable people are free. Why this changes everything? When you live this way, everything shifts. Your relationships improve because you're no longer reactive. Your career stabilizes because you're no longer chasing validation. Your health improves because you're no longer living in emotional overdrive. Your opportunities multiply because people trust those who don't need to impress. You attract better people. You make clearer decisions. You move through life with intention, not impulse, because manipulation only works on the insecure. Chaos only controls the reactive, and drama only thrives where boundaries are weak. But you've built something stronger. Inner clarity, emotional sovereignty, unshakable peace. Final Stoic reflection. Remember this: you don't need to outtalk, outfight, or outshine anyone. You only need to outlast them through patience, calm, and quiet strategy. You don't need to win every moment. You need to win the long game. And that long game, it's not played in chaos. It's played in silence, in stillness, in calm, steady progress no one sees coming. Detach not because you don't care. Detach because you finally understand what's worth caring about. Master yourself, master your energy, and you'll never need to master anyone else again. Because when you reach this point, you've already won.